Alright, so I'm going to do my install right now. Make sure you have the breaker off so you don't have any power to these things before you start. Change all 3 of these because these are for my kitchen lights. Alright, so I got my flashlight here. As you guys can tell, see the wire nut right there, the white, that's your neutral that's coming in. They've pulled you know, the three wire Romex through there for each circuit in here. So for this particular one, looks like you see from the bottom, the power is coming in from the bottom, and then the top is feeding the 3 circuits going out. So 2 of these are for my kitchen and one's for my exterior security lights. The green wire nut with the bare copper, that's your earth ground. That's what goes on the top of the switches. And then on these, you know, that's usually that bare wire right there with the green screw. So that's your earth ground. You can tell. So as far as the line goes, the line is this black right here with the whole bundle twisted, so that when you on your end, when you do the take it apart, that you know, that will be your line that goes into the smart switch. Then your load would be on this one would be one of the middle one's the red, and then it'll be the blacks on the other side, but that would be the side going up to your lights. So right there, let me put this down and set it up for my own thing. First thing I'm gonna do is unscrew the grounds and just take them off for now. Some of these they use the push in, so what you can do, usually you just twist it back and forth and it comes right out. Got the first switch out. So the one thing you want to do too is kind of keep your circuits separated so you don't mix them up here. You can, so that these other 2, they're all just using the compression fit push in, so just twist back and forth and they come right out.
Remember to kind of keep your switches separated unless you want to reorganize or reorder your switches when you get them in here.
So one of the things for the install on these, that they come, basically they have these things on the side. I think most of it's to guard people from putting stuff in there, but when you put multiple switches in a single gang box, you actually have to break off these perforated aluminum side things right here in order to get because the switches, when they're in there, they essentially butt up next to each other, so these will interfere. So you got to break them off, so that way when the switches are there, they right now with those little things on there, they won't sit side to side and the spacing will be off, so you actually have to take some pliers and break these babies off. That way, once you get them in there, they're actually side to side and the face covers will fit perfectly on them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect I already disconnected the red wire nut to my neutral, or my, yeah, your white neutral. Since I've got so many on this circuit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one I'm gonna do one to the main, and then what I'm gonna do is daisy chain them from switch to switch. So for this one, I'm gonna go to the first switch. I'm gonna put the neutral into here, and then I'm gonna put the second wire I have into the second hole, and I'm gonna tighten that down. Then I'm gonna jumper that to the next switch over. That way, it shares, because each one of these switches has 2 holes. The one thing I gotta remember to do, these GE ones, they come one size longer than the other for some reason, so you gotta trim about a 1/2 inch off the end of it. And then you wanna get the second switch, put that neutral into here, grab your third jumper wire, put it there, put it in, tighten it down. Trim about a 1/2 inch from there. Put the last, put the last one in and tighten it down. I'm gonna do that last because I've got so much hanging right now. So I'm gonna do my wiring straight across, get it tucked into the other thing is, when you have these boxes, these switches are a lot thicker than your original one, so now trying to put it in is going to be a pain in the ass. You got to push everything back, make sure you don't short anything out, and get it in there. So let me bring this closer. So you see the right here wire nut into the neutral to the first one, put it in that hole. Tighten out the screws from one, daisy chain it to the next one, jump it through there, and then daisy chain to the third one. You should be good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the lines down into here. So each one's going to get its own home run line since it's already connected there. Just got to wiggle around inside there. Make sure you got to get it good. Get your screwdriver, tighten it down. And then I'm gonna get my my loads in here now. So so this particular, the first one for the exterior has 2 loads. So I'm gonna put them one in each hole, tighten it down. The second switch has the 1 red load. Let's get in the hole, tighten that down. Got those in. I'm gonna go ahead and do my third switch that I was holding off earlier on. So I'm gonna do is jumper the neutral over, tighten that down. Make sure my line is in that bundle. And then your load on the top. So now I got all 3 connected. Basically all the main connections are done. The next thing I gotta do is the earth ground. So the earth ground is gonna be a bit tricky because of the way these are jumpered from one switch to the next. So usually I take a flathead. This thing's kind of sticky, so you gotta move it up there, wiggle it in. Alright, so back to trying to get all these wires tucked back into the box. So that just gonna squeeze everything, so you're gonna have to make sure everything's flush to the back of mainly your ground and your neutrals and all that, but then so make sure everything goes flat into there. Give you clearance for getting these guys back in. Just gotta fold them. Your ground wires all tucked back correctly. So I got them all mounted on. The only thing is, as you can tell, this one's lower than these two. So I'm gonna just loosen it up and slide them up so that the cover fits well. So I turned on the power before I closed everything up. I made all my adjustments so everything's works. So everything works, looks like fine. So you notice that these have this blue LED at the bottom. Depending on what hub you're using, you can set that light to be on or off depending on what state. So it looks like from out of the box, when it's off, the blue light is on to indicate that it's off. And when you turn it on, the blue light goes off. So you can reverse that if you want, depending on what you want to see when it's in either state. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together and then show you how to program this switches into Smartthings. So when I made my adjustments, made sure everything fit so that make sure your switch plates fit in, everything's flush and square, and all your gaps are good. So you can tell. The one thing I noticed on all these, they're a little thicker because of the aluminum. So when you put your switch plate now on, you have a much more of a gap around the edge of your walls than you did before. So depending on how OCD you are about that, you can cock those edges up and paint them or whatever you want to do. Alright, so got everything hooked up. So you go to your Smartthings app, and depending on where you're at, you go add a thing, and then you could just let it look for itself, or if you know where you're adding, you just hit manually add device, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just manually add the device. Scroll down to switches and dimmers, go down to what you have. So I've got the GE Z-Wave. I think it just paddle switch on off. And then I just hit connect now. And that narrows down the options for it to look for it, so you'll find it pretty easier. So the first one finally switched. So you look at it, it lets you rename the switch. So I'm going to go into it actually first and then just name it something just for the hell of it. I'll probably just call it, all mine are called switch dash something. So I'm gonna do that first. So right now it sees 3 of the 5 switches I just installed. So I'm gonna rename this switch dash. I'm gonna 2 on that one, and then I'm gonna this one switch dash 3. So I'm gonna say I'm done with those for now. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save those 3 under there. I'm gonna go and actually, so that one is my outdoor. I'm gonna go to this one, and that's my dining room table. And then the third one is gonna be the kitchen. So now that I know, I'm just gonna rename them to the correct ones and then program my sequences that I want to switch these on.